Well, thank you. So, first of all, it's a privilege to be here today for me to present one of my favorite masterpieces of Spanish Baroque. Thanks to the kind invitation of the WICA and the excellent organization of this one-day conference. As you may have now noticed, English is not my native language, so please forgive me for any imperfections. I'm delighted to, in a way, to pick up where the previous and must I say very interesting presentation lecture by Dr. Powers this morning left off. I promise this was not planned. In fact, I met Dr. Powers today for the first time here in Portland. So the Fandango I am about to perform is attributed to Antonio Soler, better known as Padre Soler or the Father Soler. I said attributed because several musicologists have questioned whether a Jeronymic monk, apparently cloistered for much of his life as an organist, a chormaster at the royal monastery of San Lorenzo de Escorial in Madrid, could have composed so worldly a piece of a fandango, one of the most striking incorporation of popular dance into art music. In a moment, I will try to explain why the word inappropriate has often been used to describe the fandango as a musical form. The score, hailed as one of the high points of the 18th century Spanish music, survives in a single source, a manuscript clearly titled Fandango de Soler, as you can see all in the first picture here in the handout. Although the autograph does not survive, the authorship remains debated. The attribution is plausibly given Soler's close stylistic proximity, and likely acquaintance with Domenico Scarlatti, whose presence at the Spanish court and influence on Iberian keyboard style are very well documented. At a minimum, Soler's sonatas inhabit the same brilliant dance-driven item cultivated in Madrid, and the manuscript's explicit title has long guide performance tradition. Scarlatti, a celebrated Italian composer, was closely linked to the Spanish royal court of Ferdinand VI and was passionate about the airs and popular dance of Spain, which he first encountered during his years in Seville from 1729 and then from 1733 in Madrid until his death in 1757. Scarlatti even felt so Spanish that he sometimes signed his name in the Hispanic form as Domingo instead of Domenico. So returning to Soler, beyond this theoretical treatise, the key to modulation and his extensive sacred music, Soler composed a remarkable body of secular works, stage pieces, chamber music, keyboard sonatas, quintets, concertos, all firmly embedded in the galant style, whose salon root forms elevate with its essentially dance-derived rhetoric. Drawing up French clavecin colors and the idiom of Scarlatti, Soler infuses the language with a distinctively Spanish accent, already anticipating classicism in his fandango. One can almost imagine the sound of castanets and zapateado. Soler's fandango unfolds over a repeated bass and a harmonic scheme that persists over more than 450 measures, building hypnotic intensity rhythm through incremental variation and shifts in registers. This ostinato, often perceived as earthy and sensual, historically attracted ecclesiastic scrutiny, even as it contributed to the piece's powerful effect in performance. A few years ago, I recorded an album centered on fandangos, which led a Spanish magazine to commission an article on this kind of genre. And there I explored parallels with other mystical dance traditions. For instance, the circular spiral momentum of the melody within ritual. You have this here. Unfortunately, I don't have the video to show here, but they go like this, spiral, whirling, endless. It's like getting drunk with the ostinato, we can say. Historically, the fandango flourished from the Iberian Peninsula and Canary Island to Hispanic America, drawing both popular enthusiasm and, unsurprisingly, more suspicion from the church. Despite periods of censure, it became a codified art music genre, much like the Saraband, Allemand, Courant, or Geek before it. In the later 18th century, it inspired not only Iberian composers, but also cosmopolitan figures like Boccherini, for example, who celebrate guitar quintet in D major climaxes with a fandango fluting castanets. On my album, I revised 3 great 18th century fandangos, those associated with Soler, Scarlatti, and Boccherini. Soler's fandango, which I am going to perform today, poses both a technical and a structural challenge because of its quasi-open processional nature, a progression simply inviting extemporized continuous in the 18th century spirit. It's worth noticing that the first editor of this fandango, musicologist Samuel Rubio, was very unsure how to handle its ending, with clauses on A, the dominant, with the words Laus Deo. You have the manuscript here, the second picture here. Yeah. Laus Deo, praise be to God. Rubio addressed this by repeating the introduction in the style of the Gordo variations, aria da capo. So, because as Dr. Powers this morning explained very well, it was perfectly explained, it's not tonal piece, it's a modal piece. That's why it finished with the A. Nevertheless, at the beginning of this last century, it sounded very strange to many. For my performance, I have devised a new coda by incorporating material from Padre Soler's Prelude No. 1 in D minor, where it's conceptually linked to his key to modulation. It's a pleasure to share Soler's Fandango with you today, along with a new, yet historically sensitive ending. This is what I think. As scholars, our challenge is to honor the historic impulse. We will also seek living ways to renew these classical forms for a contemporary audience. So, just to finish this, here is the San Lorenzo del Escorial cloister. It's a World Heritage, by the way. Here, a little picture from Padre Soler, and here is the prelude I'm going to play at the end, just if you want to follow. have any questions, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've worked on that and taught it some, but I don't think any of us have ever performed it quite yet. And what I can't remember, are there spots where you have to have a big hand span, or no?
Not actually.
Not really?
No.
Okay.
But then, octave is fine. You don't need a bigger hand. Of course, if you have a bigger hand, doing these things are a little easier, but you don't need it. Actually, I have a very big hand. So.
No.
Yes, please.
There was one, I couldn't tell if you went like that or if you fingered it when you went
No,
down.
I play a glissando.
Yeah.
I was playing a glissando. It's not written in the manuscript. There is a scale, but I like doing that. It's more effective. Yeah. That's not very historically informed performance, but okay, We are among friends, so it's fine. More questions? Anything else? Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think that your own interpretation differs greatly from the original piece, or do you think it's fairly close?
No, I think it's pretty close. But maybe I'm the one to have to answer that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do it yourself. I don't think it's very different. Except the ending, of course, yes. Yeah. But anything else?
Yes.
Yes, please.
That ending, I'm really more familiar with the really fast and exciting parts of it. The quiet part at the end, that's written into the music too, or did you pull that from somewhere else?
I understand the question.
The last part that you played
Yes.
was very quiet.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I took.
Added it.
Yeah, that's part I add.
Oh, okay, you added
Yeah,
that.
yeah. The prelude from Soler, I played it at a postlude.
Yeah.
Prelude and a postlude.
You felt our hearts needed to quiet down.
So you normally, when
It ends.
in a concert, you go at the end. So everyone can applaud. Yeah?
Yeah.
But I think it's weird to just things like that. And then you need something. Instead of playing the chord, just to bring your house. So, better settle down everything, calm down everything. I like that. But of course, just my interpretation of that. That actually it says Laus Deo, so praise to God. So I don't know if maybe you can understand it. Yeah. After that, calm down, relax, pray. Anything else? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.